Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist, nomadcapitalist.com, and the author of the book Nomad Capitalist on Amazon. And I'm here in KL waiting for my flight to Dubai. I wanted to make a video discussing one of the new citizenship by investment options that's out there. I recently had some folks get in touch with me about this program, wanting to have me send people their way, and so I thought a great time now that the dust is settled to discuss this program. Now, there are a lot of new CBI programs, the so-called passport for sale programs, where you invest some money in a country and they very quickly give you citizenship. So before you do anything else, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and make sure that you check out all of our other videos, because we have a lot of more content coming out very soon with all of these new options, things changing, things opening, things closing. But today I want to talk about Montenegro. And I've been following this for a long time because I'm very active in Montenegro. I've met with folks in the government. I had someone working for me who had worked for the government. And I just have been, there's been a lot of rumblings about this program in Montenegro over the last 2 to 2.5 years. Montenegro actually flirted with having a program back in the mid-2000s. There was some political flack they caught for it. They shut it down. And now they've been talking for a long time about bringing it back, and they finally have. And it's interesting because someone who is in Montenegro who wants to promote their project recently reached out. And so I want to tell you how that affects what you can do to become Montenegrin. So Montenegro, unlike really most of the other programs out there, is going to require you to do two things. Most programs want you to do one thing, with the exception of Malta, where they have you doing a lot of different things. It's even questionable if Malta is a CBI program by definitions. But Montenegro wants you to do two things. First, they want you to make a donation, similar to that of the Caribbean programs. It's going to be 100,000 euros. Montenegro, being a de facto member of the Eurozone by their choice, collects money in euros. So similar to Malta and Cyprus, you're going to be paying in euros. So unlike the dollar in the Caribbean countries, you're going to be paying a bit of a premium over the lower priced Caribbean programs, 100,000 euros. On top of that, they're going to also make you do the second thing, the second most common option that people do in the Caribbean, and that is invest in real estate. It's the old approved real estate, which means that only projects which are approved by the government, it appears at this time, will qualify. So for example, I'm buying a new home in Montenegro. I've had a home there for a while. It's a little small, getting married, want to buy a bigger home, nicer view. That house wouldn't qualify because I'm just buying it from a random seller rather than a developer who's been approved. So someone like me, even if I wanted to make the donation, couldn't qualify for the citizenship. So there are going to be two options. One is $250,000 euros, 250,000 euros in the non-coastal region, in the mountains, in the north, in the ski areas, in the Montenegro that not so many people know about. When I had someone on my team who had experience with the Montenegrin government, she told us that they're always looking to promote this part of Montenegro that gets overlooked because everyone flocks to the coast. That's where all the money goes. And meanwhile, the capital region and all the other areas north of that get often overlooked. So the government's going to say, hey, put €250,000 euros into the northern region, and we will give you citizenship on top of your donation. If you want to be in the coast, which I imagine most people will, then the real estate investment in an approved project goes up to 450,000 euros. So you're looking at about $500,000 in real estate. And I think that the challenge is potentially going to be, what are these projects that are approved? I'm a big fan in Montenegro of Porto, Montenegro. And I like hanging out there. It's a very luxurious place, but I would never buy real estate there. I looked for a long time, actually, to buy something very close to that. But I don't want to be paying, Amsterdam prices to be in, housing that is it's just kind of okay. But it's at this Porto, Montenegro. And so my fear is that the programs that are going to be approved are going to be overpriced. If the government allows in any developer who applies and who meets a basic set of criteria, then there may be some actual values for someone who's willing to invest that kind of money. I think that there's possibly a model they can follow where there could be people who build one-off homes that could be part of a tract of homes, seaside, stone homes. That would be potentially very interesting. But my fear is that right off the bat, the folks that had contacted me, who are very nice folks, they said, hey, we're building the next port to Montenegro, and we're selling apartments from €500,000 and up, and they're going to be expensive, and that's going to qualify people for citizenship. So really, I see that potentially they could hit you both ways. A donation is perfectly fine, but then to also ask for a real estate investment seems a little weird. Now, I was talking to someone in the industry about this recently, and we were discussing, is Montenegro worth the premium? You can go to a couple different Caribbean countries, donate $100,000, get a passport. And those passports, unlike Montenegro, get you into the UK and Ireland. I think what's interesting about Montenegro, and what some of my folks who are in contact with the government there said, was that this is going to be a program for folks who are Russian, who want to live in Montenegro, who are doing it anyway, perhaps, who are going to buy anyway, and this is just going to motivate them to come and invest more, and for the government to collect a donation on top of that. So it's an interesting approach with the government saying, hey, we want real investors who have real ties here. Even if you don't live in the house, at least you own a house. You're establishing some kind of real estate tie here. We're going to make our money from the developers. The developers are probably going to be selling stuff that is not exactly a great deal. And on top of that, we'll collect €100,000 in fees, and we'll sell this as a way to people who want our passport. They're going to issue a maximum of 2,000 of them over the next 3 years. If the other programs that are in this ballpark are any indication, I don't think they'll hit that 2,000. I would say maybe they hit half that number. Because I think that you're going to be seeing some of these kind of Eastern and Southeastern European residence and citizenship by investment programs now are starting to attract a different audience. If you wanted to renounce your U.S. citizenship, for example, you probably wouldn't go and buy a passport in Montenegro unless you really wanted that real estate to live in Montenegro. Because you can go to other countries and get better visa-free travel. But what my friend in the industry and I were talking about was that Montenegro has a certain sex appeal. Even the name is kind of sexy. The country is interesting. It was in a Bond movie, albeit the scenery wasn't really from Montenegro. So there's certainly a sex appeal that, say Moldova or Turkey doesn't have. But quite frankly, I'm struggling to see exactly who the audience is for this, outside of Russians who already want to buy there anyway, and who historically don't care nearly as much as others about price per meter. There are people who in the investment immigration industry buy more on impulse and less on the numbers, and the numbers bear that out, and experiences bear that out. So that, I think, is going to be your profile, and I don't think the program will be fully subscribed. But it is an interesting option, and it is a way, as I've said for many years, you're going to see a niching down of these programs. This program focuses on a certain type of person, and it's starting to take different elements of citizenship by investment programs rather than just saying, let's just do the same pat, make a donation, buy a property. They're starting to get a bit creative, and that's interesting. But for most of us who want visa-free travel, Montenegro won't get you into the UK, it won't get you into Ireland, it won't even get you into Malaysia. It's actually one of 6 countries that needs a visa to come to Malaysia. A Haitian, a Sierra Leonean, a Somalian can get in to Malaysia, whereas a Montenegrin can't. Montenegro does offer visa-free access to Russia, but so does St. Kitts and Nevis, and so does Grenada, and possibly soon in the future, so does Dominica. So, in closing, I do think that you are going to see more programs doing things the way Montenegro is. I'm not entirely sure of the benefit to the Nomad Capitalist community. I said the same thing about Turkey a year and a half ago when they started, and they realized that they were overpriced, so we'll have to see what happens. Definitely subscribe here on the channel if you want to find out more about these citizenship by investment programs. I'm going to be putting out a video highlighting all the different options this year because there have been a lot of changes. And definitely if you're looking for more advanced strategies and you're looking to get your own second passport, go to nomadcapitalist.com and see what kind of options are out there for you.